Episode 580.
What was the bet last time?
Chen Guo asked.
It's been too long. I don't remember.
Ma Chenyi's face was dark as he spoke. The guy wore his heart on his sleeve, with his moods written plainly across his face for all to see. He'd been all swagger just a moment ago, but the moment Chen Guo asked her question, his face fell. It was perfectly clear he hadn't forgotten at all. He just didn't want to remember. The audience had already concluded that this person must have lost terribly last time.
We can't do worse than last time, can we? And it's the new year, after all. So, how about this? 24 Heavenly Domain account cards, one for each class.
What do you need so many account cards for?
What? Giving up before we even start?
Who's giving up?
If you didn't concede, how do you know the account card is definitely for me?
People without much guile usually aren't the best at verbal sparring. Just look at Ma Chenyi. The lines he uses to mock and ridicule Chen Guo haven't changed in years. It's clear he's put zero effort into honing that particular skill. Chen Guo had seized the conversational opening for a test of wits, but now found herself at a loss for words, her momentum instantly deflating. The players craning their necks to watch from inside Happy Internet Cafe also burst into laughter. With skills like Ma Chenyi's, it was clear he'd taken his lumps in this verbal spar with Chen Guo. His resilience was impressive, though. He hadn't crumpled under the barrage of mocking laughter. He stood his ground, finally mustering a retort.
No. A bunch of account cards? What the hell would I do with those?
You could ask for something else, you know.
It was clear these two were fighting mainly for pride. The stakes were just to rub salt in the wound and add a little extra gamble to the mix. Neither of them was really here for the prize. If Ma Chenyi had to name something he truly wanted, the Happy Internet Cafe's location would be a fine choice, but suggesting such a foolish condition was out of the question. Neither of them was foolish enough to treat that as a prize. Now, 24 Heavenly Domain account cards aren't exactly cheap to buy, but for these two internet cafe owners, it's hardly a major expense. The real point was to win this battle of wills.
Forget it. We're grown men. No need to get too hung up on a woman. Account card it is, then.
With that, Ma Chenyi called out to the players at Happy Internet Cafe.
Brothers, we've got 24 account cards we don't need. We gotta figure out a way to give them away.
Anyone interested can head over to Hongtai with me, and we can figure out the best way to distribute them.
Quite confident, aren't you?
You bet.
Ma Chenyi kept up his confident smile, but then a sudden thought struck him. It made sense for him to be confident, but why was Chen Guo acting so unbothered when he was the one coming to challenge her turf? Something's off here. Where does Chen Guo get such confidence from?
So, it's these two?
Chen Guo didn't give Ma Chenyi any more time to think deeply. She pointed at the two people standing right by the front desk and asked,
Right.
Alright, let's get started. Anyone here interested in giving it a shot?
With that, Chen Guo began clapping her hands to rally the crowd in the internet cafe. Ma Chenyi's declaration was a bold one. The two of them would take on everyone from Happy. On Chen Guo's side, she didn't need to organize anything. She just started by inviting any curious players who were around to give it a try. Of course, there were plenty of players like that. Even if they weren't regulars at Happy Internet Cafe, it was perfectly normal to be curious and give it a try. A few customers in the internet cafe immediately got up, calling out that they wanted to give it a try. This one's ready for battle, so it must be a max-level character from the Heavenly Domain. The two logged into the game one after the other. Chen Guo leaned in for a look. One was a blade master, the other a sharpshooter, both popular classes in glory. The room was quickly set up in the arena. Of course, the challenge wasn't closed to spectators. Of course, the only spectators who came in to watch were the people currently at Happy Internet Cafe.
Want me to get you a computer?
Chen Guo logged onto a machine herself. Like the other customers, she used a character to spectate. This method gave her a view of the entire battlefield.
Nah, no need.
Ma Chenyi simply stood behind the two of them, ready to watch their screen perspectives. Without further ado, the match began. The Blade Master was the first of the two to step up. The challenger from Happy Internet Cafe was playing a witch. The countdown finished, they entered the arena, and everyone watched with bated breath. Anyone who dares to challenge the whole room must have some real skill, right? As it turned out, reality wasn't too distorted. The player behind this Blade Master was indeed skilled. Anyone who'd made it to the heavenly domain, unless they'd bought their account, was no slouch. And this witch player was exactly that. Not exactly a top-tier expert, but definitely someone who knew what they were doing. So when the fight started, he never really gained the upper hand. In the end, the Blade Master from Red Tie's side took him out cleanly. It wasn't a flawless, full-health victory, but the gap in their strength was plain to see. The onlookers who had been hoping for a good laugh finally fell silent. So the guy who came to kick up a fuss isn't just an armchair general after all.
Nice.
Ma Chenyi let out a triumphant roar the moment the word glory flashed on screen, loud enough to be heard on the second floor, and shot a smug glance in Chen Guo's direction.
Not bad. Pretty impressive.
So you can play after all.
Anyone else want to give it a shot?
After that display, the players who knew what they were doing had already formed a fairly clear picture of this Blade Master's skill. Those who were merely curious had realized they were clearly outmatched, and so they reined in their curiosity. After Chen Guo asked her question, no one answered for a long, long time.
Hey, wasn't the Happy Internet Cafe full of experts? What's going on? Where'd they all go?
Ma Chenyi's taunt hit the mark, whether he meant it to or not. Chen Guo felt a pang of frustration. She glanced at the customers gathered around, but not many of them looked particularly ashamed or indignant, and among them, she didn't spot a single familiar face. Chen Guo knew that many of the experts who used to prop up Happy's reputation were die-hard Glory fans. Ever since she stopped broadcasting Excellent Era's matches, she'd offended quite a few of them, and they'd simply stopped coming. After that day, many familiar faces gradually vanished from the Happy Internet Cafe,